Here's the team covering this story. We'll be with Kamal Hyder in Muzaffarabad shortly. That's Pakistan-administered Kashmir. We're starting in New Delhi, though, with Faiz Jamil. Faiz, can you explain the process of what's happening in the Indian Parliament today?
As you mentioned, Kamal, that right now the bill to change the state of Indian-administered Kashmir into two federally administered territories is currently in front of the lower house of parliament. It's expected to pass fairly easily given the government's majority there. But the important thing to notice is that it also passed the upper house on Monday fairly easily. That's because even though there is some opposition criticism and a protest against this, a large part of the opposition is siding with the government on this, as is the public. This idea that all parts of India will be equal, there won't be any special status or autonomy to anyone, has gotten broad appeal in political parties and the public as well. And really, this whole thing, the way that this was accomplished, though, was really by legal maneuvering. So it's widely expected that there's going to be legal challenges as soon as this bill is passed. Now, as we saw in Paul's package, the Indian-administered Kashmir is still under lockdown. The phone is shut off, the internet continues to be off, people aren't allowed to assemble, and they can't go out without curfew passes. So a lot of people are staying indoors because they're afraid of what will happen. But there's been a lot of so we're hearing from people, they're saying that a lot of people who were supporting India in Kashmir, Kashmiris themselves, they say they feel betrayed by this. One glaring example is the former chief minister, the most recent one, Mehbooba Mufti, who on Twitter has repeatedly criticized the government's action and saying, I quote, that this action reduces India to an occupational force in Jammu and Kashmir, end quote. So passions are still running high.
OK, thank you for that update. Faiz Jamil in New Delhi. Over to Kamal Hyder in Muzaffarabad, Pakistan-administered Kashmir. Faiz talks about lockdown on the Indian side. What's happening where you are?
Well, it's business as usual. As you can see, the traffic is still moving around in the administrative capital of Pakistani-administered Kashmir. But there have been protests even today, and there's going to be more protests over the next few days. Pakistan's parliament has convened an emergency session. This is a joint session of parliament that is already underway. The Pakistani military chief has also called his top commanders for a meeting in GHQ Rawalpindi. So Pakistan's still mulling over its response to the Indian move, which they say is unilateral, and of course tensions along the line of control, also known as the line of divide here, running very high because of the troop movement on the Indian side. The people on the Pakistani side are concerned about the plight of their relatives who live in that valley. They say that the heavy induction of Indian military forces may lead to more bloodshed and violence. So Pakistan mulling over its options, saying that all options are open. Everybody here, of course, will be hoping that better sense prevails and that there is some breakthrough as far as talking over these outstanding issues is concerned. But it appears that India has already made its move, and it will be important to see what kind of response this prompts from Pakistan. Kamal?
OK, that's Kamal Hyder, excuse me, in Muzaffarabad. Thank you.